welcome everybody to another episode of Sports News Podcast. And today we're going to be grading the draft grades for every team. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be part of this video. It's only going to be Raymond and Serge. So, yeah, guys, get to it.
Okay, but before we start off with the draft grades, we have three trades that happened.
Yeah.
First we'll start off with the first one, which was Trent Williams heading to the San Francisco 49ers. Serge, you thought on that?
I mean, I really like that. I mean, didn't they just lose one of
Joe Stady.
their tackles and all that? So it's gonna be a great move for them. And obviously, they needed to replace that. It's a great move for them.
The Niners still want to be a contending team. They made great moves even in the draft, and this is a better move. You lose Joe Stady and replace him with arguably one of the top 5 left tackles in this league. The next trade was actually another Niner. This time it was Matt Breida heading to Miami. I had said it before. The Dolphins need to add some running back core. They had added Jordan Howard. Now they got Matt Breida, so now they got a solid 2 running back punch, and does not affect the Niners in a bad way. They end up getting an extra draft pick, and they still have a running back core of Telvin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, and they're hoping that Jerick McKinnon can stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that pickup with Matt Breida. I mean, they didn't really get anyone that I saw, any running backs, if I'm not mistaken, right? This draft. So I mean, that's gonna be really good for their core, and especially the fact that they got some offensive guards, offensive tackles as well to help that running game.
And the final trade that happened was Marquise Lee heading to the Philadelphia Eagles. Actually, big day for the 49ers in the trades. The Eagles needed a lot of receivers. The more help Carson Wentz can get, and their team has been always wanting speed. So Marquise Goodwin, one of the fastest receivers in the league. Of course, he does have the health concerns, but if he can stay healthy, he would be really great addition to that receiving core in Philly and very explosive for them, which now contains a bunch of speed at the wide receiving core. They want to kind of be like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I really like this pickup for the Eagles. They really needed another wide receiver. You know how it is with Philadelphia, injuries happen. And this guy, he's gonna help him out. Marquise Lee should help out Carson Wentz. Yeah. If willing, he stays healthy, and the offense, and they did get good wide receivers out there, so this is gonna benefit them.
Okay, now let's get to the draft grades. We started off with the Arizona Cardinals, and in the first round they got an absolute steal in Isaiah Simmons. I thought he'd be gone. I had him going to the Giants at 4. He falls to them at 8. Like Simmons said himself, I know it's a 53-man roster, but with me, you have a 56-man roster because he can play anywhere on the defense. And you're going to add him with Chandler Jones, who, in my opinion, was the second best defensive player last year. He was, in my opinion, the runner-up to Stephon Gilmore for that award. So this is great. As Arizona's building up that defense, I said they need to add a little bit more to it. In the third round, they got another steal. This guy, me and Serge, we had a first-round grade on him, which is Josh Jones, the tackle out of Houston. Kyler needed protection. I was kind of upset they didn't get him protection in the first round, but then to end up getting Josh Jones in the third round, that was amazing. They needed a defensive tackle, Leki Fotu. I got him in the fourth round. I had him going in the third round, so that's another steal for the Arizona Cardinals. Rashard Lawrence, they got him another defense tackle. This one at LSU. They got him great value. He was supposed to be a 4th-round pick, and they got him in the 4th round. So you pair him up there with Leki Fotu. Now you got Isaiah Simmons and Chandler Jones in that D-line, and they got Zach Allen from last year. Then they added some more linebacker depth with Evan Weaver. I've heard of him. I'm not that high on him, but they got him in the 6th round. Seems respectable for they got him. Now their final pick to me is a steal. I had a 4th-round grade on him, and that's running back Eno Benjamin from Arizona State. They need to add some more to that running back core, and they did. So my final grade for the Cardinals would be an A-. The minus is due to the fact they still didn't get what, in my opinion, was their biggest need, and that was a tight end. They still, unless they're rolling with Max Williams, I know Williams is a solid player, but you need to have at least an extra one because Max Williams isn't scaring that much in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. All these picks are really great for them, especially Isaiah Simmons. When you ask him what position he plays on defense, he tells you everything. He's kind of like Taysom Hill of the defense. This guy is really good. I really want him in my team. And just to pick up a running back after giving basically away David Johnson and leaving them with that big contract to Houston, It's a really good pickup for them. I give them a B plus. I feel like as much as they got all these good weapons on defense, they still went with Josh Jones, which I really like. They didn't address that tight end position like Raymond says, and I think that's real crucial. I mean, considering the fact they don't have a good tight end, so that's why I give them a B plus only.
Okay, next we have the Atlanta Falcons, a draft that is getting hated by so many, but in my opinion, I enjoyed their draft. So in the first round, they got AJ Terrell, a corner, which was their biggest need. I know people are gonna say, "Oh, Terrell, that's not a great corner." Not well. I had a grade of him going between 16 and 19, and he got picked at 16, so that's a respectable place to get him. And in my opinion, it was um Jeff Okuda, C.J. Henderson, and then the third could be a coin flip between A.J. Terrell and Jeff Gladney, whichever team preferred who. So this solid pick, great pick for the Falcons, who now have a young secondary core, and A.J. Terrell is going to be leading the way. Then in the second round, they got an absolute steal in Martin Davidson. They also need a defensive tackle to pair up with Grady Jarrett, who's still top 5 defensive tackle in this league. And when you think about Auburn, had one of the most amazing defensive line cores this year and for the past couple of years with Martin Davidson, Derek Brown, and Nick Cole. Now Martin Davidson, many argue he could have gone late in the first round, maybe early in the second round. Atlanta got him late in the second round, so great pickup for them. Matt Hennessy, he's put at center, but he can play anywhere around the O line for the Falcons, so that's great. They're trying to build a younger O line because it is getting old, and he's someone you can move anywhere. So the first round picks are great. Mykal Walker, I'm not that sure on him going on the first round. I guess it's just linebacking core that they're adding where he could be starting. They felt really high on him. It seems like a solid pick. Nothing bad about him. Then they got safety Jaden Hawkins. They did need some safety. They got Hawkins in the fourth round, although you could have got him a bit later, but I guess the Falcons had a higher grade than most people. And then they added a punter in Sterling Hofreicher. I don't know how you pronounce his name. It was their last pick in the seventh round. The past 2 years, they've struggled with punters. They just cut like 2 last year, so they had to replace one. Don't know that much about him, but they really need a punter, so that's a great need that they addressed. If anything, maybe they could have gotten an extra corner, an extra tight end, and maybe a quarterback for the future from when Ryan's gone, but you still have to next year's draft. A little bit extra in the D-line, but I really like this draft. I'd go A for the Atlanta Falcons. A solid A.
I actually also went A for my Atlanta Falcons. Um, Considering the fact that they went AJ Toro, especially Martin Davidson, no one was that excited for Martin Davidson as much as I was. And Matt Hennessy, at first I didn't understand the pick. I didn't understand the pickup, but I want to explain to me that it was because of Alex Mack, and he was already getting a little bit older. And I mean, I still understand that. I really wanted Jake Fromm for just so we could have him for later on. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him, but I still give him an A for this. They did step up on defense. They got key players out there. I love AJ Terrell and Martin Davidson. It'd be great for my team out there. And Mykal Walker as well, great steal as well for Fresno State, and Jalen Hawkins as well. I don't know that much about the punter Sterling, but I mean, hopefully he does good. He makes it to the squad, and I give him an A for Atlanta. And now we have now the Baltimore Ravens, who it's my first A plus. They have a stacked defense, and now with Patrick Queen, I don't know if anyone saw Lamar Jackson's live Instagram where he said that Patrick Queen was the second coming of Ray Lewis. He called him Ray Lewis Jr. I really like this pickup for them. And then J.K. Dobbins, another talented running back to put in that core. And overall, the defense, how they picked up like Ohio State, Malik Harrison at 98. The guard that they really needed for Lamar Jackson, both guards for Mississippi State, Tyree Phillips and Ben Bredesen from Michigan. And then they got more more defensive tackles, and a wide receiver, James Proche as well. And this is a great stacked defense that they just added more players and more key players into that defense. I wouldn't be surprised if next year they could be that top defense, just like the Patriots out there, especially with those linebackers that they got.
All right, for the Ravens, I absolutely they did this draft perfect. This is my first A plus. I'll just say it out there. Everything they needed, they got, and they got arguably the best that there is for what they needed. They needed a linebacker, and they ended up getting Patrick Queen, who I thought would be gone earlier. That's absolute steal. To add to that already ferocious core that added Calais Campbell, kept Matt Judon. You have Derek Wolfe and Patrick Queen. It's insane. That was probably their biggest weakness, and they got him. They added some running back core, and they added who, in my opinion, is the best running back in this draft, and that is J.K. Dobbins. And I know maybe he might not get that much playing time this year, but Mark Ingram's almost done, so he'll eventually go up front. But I'm pretty sure they'll try to use as many plays with him because the Ravens want to become more explosive, more dangerous. They got Lamar, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins. They got him in the second round. In the third round, they got Justin Madubuike. Solid pick here. I think there were still a couple better defensive tackles, but it wasn't that big of a need for them, so they didn't need to take one of the best ones. But Madubuike for some rotations is actually pretty good. Now, they did get two receivers. I'm going to talk about the one they got in the third round first. Devin Duvernay from Texas. That's a great pick. I said I needed to add some more for Marquise Hollywood Brown, and Devin Duvernay is not a bad pick. And then it even got even better. When in the sixth round, they took James Proche, who in my opinion was a sleeper pick. Anyone that got him would be a really great pick for them, and they stole him in the sixth round. So you had him, Duvernay, and Hollywood Brown, J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Ingram. That offense is going to be even more crazier with a defense that already stacked up. The other picks, now they're still getting Malik Harrison in the third round. I thought he'd be gone. So they added two solid, great starting quality linebackers in Patrick Queen and Malik Harrison out of Ohio State. That is some O-line help with Tyree Phillips. Don't know that much about him. Ben Bredesen from Michigan, that's a great pickup, another offensive lineman. And another defensive tackle in Broderick Washington in the fifth round. I'm not so sure on him. I don't know if he'll make the roster. And then they need some safety depth, and Geno Stone's a really good one. I guess you can call it great value. I thought he'd go maybe around 57. They got him 7th round, so everything Baltimore needed, they got. That is an A-plus draft. Now we move to Buffalo. Now the Bills didn't have a first-round pick because what I thought they should have gone for first round is what they traded for, and a star receiver, Stephon Diggs, so that's amazing by them. So in the second round, they needed edge, and now a lot of people are high on this guy. I'm not personally a fan of him, and some people were shocked he left in the first round, but I knew he was going to leave in the first round, and that is AJ Epinesa. I knew he shouldn't have gone in the first round, and I think Buffalo made a mistake of getting him, but I'm glad they did. Being the Patriots rivals, you get AJ Epinesa, don't get one of the better edges. They actually left two better ones for New England later on in that draft that New England would get. So I'm not high on Epinesa, so I mean, you just add him to an edge. He's a solid player, but not as high as everybody. Zach Moss, that's a great value pick in the third round, the running back. I believe it's Boston. No, that's AJ Dillon. I actually don't know. Utah. I don't know that much.
Yeah, he's from Utah.
Utah. Zach Moss. Great rotation to have behind Devin Singletary, so you have two great young running backs. They got two receivers that I actually like. Gabriel Davis from UCF and Isaiah Hodgins out of Oregon State. But they do have a pretty stacked wide receiving group, so it's going to be really hard to see if both of them can make them. I like both. I think both can make it. But you look at it, they got Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Robert Foster. They have a bunch of receivers, so maybe one of these guys will make it and it'd be a shame. They're both starting, at least rotational starting receivers in any team. Now this one I absolutely like because this just proves to my statement. I don't believe Josh Allen's as great as people say. Yeah, he's got the arm. I don't trust his accuracy. I don't think he's the best QB in that division. And the Bengals know it. I mean, the Bills know it. So just in case it doesn't work out they're getting him all his pieces, they got Jake Fromm out of Georgia to be backup. I don't think this is because they need a backup good one. No, it's because just in case Allen isn't the answer, they're going to probably give this to Fromm. I don't think it'd be this year, but if Allen doesn't perform as great this year or the next year, Buffalo's going to move on. And I mean, he's a great guy. I like him and all, but I just don't think he's one of the best. He can't read defenses. He's not surgical. Just has the big, strong arm, not as accurate. And that's why they had to get him a guy like Diggs to help him out for the type of arm that he has. They got a kicker in Tyler Bass now. Some people have him as the best one. Others have the one New England got. Now, the reason why many people love Tyler Bass is because he can kick a football without having to run. He could just stand there and kick it and it'll go. I think the best he's done is from 50 yards. Then, yeah, Stephen Hauschka's getting old. He wasn't as great last year, so I can understand why they got the title back. So that's a pretty good pick for the Bengals. They added some corner depth that they needed in Dane Jackson in the 7th round. I think there was better corners, so that's kind of a reach. Overall, I give this grade a B minus because there were some. The Dane Jackson was a reach. Epinesa was a reach. I guess some of the picks I'm not really high on, so B minus for Buffalo.
All right, and Buffalo, I give them actually a B. I was skeptical about the AJ Epinesa pickup. I really like the Zach Moss pickup, like Raymond just said. They needed at least a second running back with Singletary back there. I didn't get the two wide receiver pickup. Yeah, it could be somewhat rotational. Let's say next John Brown gets injured or something, they'll step up. But I feel like these guys both deserve to be on the starting roster at least. Like maybe like the Chiefs, like they have Pringle and they have other rotational wide receivers, and that could fit them. And I do agree with the Jake Fromm. As much as I really wanted him to be with Atlanta, him being from Georgia, the University of Georgia, I really wanted him there. But if Josh Allen's not the answer, then I mean he step up and he's really good. He I think he should have been up there over Jordan Love. I think I really liked him better than Jordan Love. But overall, the draft was just a solid B. And yeah, like Raymond just said, Jackson, the corner, was just a reach for them. They could have got something better, but who knows? I guess majority of, other than the two wide receivers and the running back and Jake Fromm, the rest are just like okay picks for me. I give them a B, a solid B.
So now we got the Carolina Panthers, who semi knocked it out of the park in free agency, going on offense, getting a new quarterback, adding Robbie Anderson to that receiving core, so they got an offense. Now their biggest needs was, I said that they wouldn't be competitive because of the defense, but they knocked it out of the park in the draft, going all defense, and they got great value with some of their picks. First round, they get Derrick Brown. He was expected to go there. I know they passed on Isaiah Simmons, but Derrick Brown still, you could have gone either or, so that's a great pick for the Panthers in the first round. Second round, a steal. I had this guy with first grade value, and that's Yurcher Gross Matos, coming from one of the best defensive colleges last season in Penn State. So
Yeah,
that's a great pick for them. Jeremy Chin in the second round. Also, they trade up, I believe, for him. Great pick. He's like a Pete Carroll, Belichick type of player, so he's a smart player, and he can really play. He has potential to be one of the best safeties in this league. They really need some secondary help. Troy Pride Jr. is another great corner that they got. Yeah, maybe there's some better, a little bit of a reach, but he's solid for them. Kenny Robinson, actually, not coming from a college in the 5th round, they got him out of the XFL. And it's another safety. Now, I don't think they really needed Kenny Robinson, but maybe you can switch some of those players around, make some corners and all that. Then add another defensive tackle in Bravion Roy. Great pick, great value getting him the 6th round. That's where I believe he'd go. And then their last pick was corner Stanley Thomas Oliver. Don't know that much about him. This is kind of a reach, but I mean they're solid players, and most of them, maybe all of them, are going to get a chance to start because the defense needs all the help it can get. I'm going to go with an A for the Falcons. For the Panthers because of some reaches. I know a lot of people wanted to go linebacker, but I look at their linebacking core. It's actually pretty young and has promising potential. Yeah, they should have replaced like a Luke Kuechly, but Shaq Thompson and the other ones there, they have promising potential. So A for the Panthers, but they are still in a pretty competitive division.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I give them an A minus. I really like the pickups. Derek Brown, Gross Matos, which is a steal for them. I really love the Jeremy Chin pickup at safety. Uh, he's a great talent. He came out of a small college of Southern Illinois. I watched some of his games, some of his highlights. He's a really great safety. And Troy Pride from Notre Dame. A bunch of great football players come out from Notre Dame as well that I like. Um, especially that Derek Brown. I can't stop looking at the Derek Brown because he's a really great defensive player out there from Auburn, and he has great potential out there for the Panthers. And I mean the rest are okay. I mean I really like their picks for defense. They went basically all defense to because they went all offense on the off season. So I'll give them A minus. I mean yes, they have great pickups, but let's see how they do in that competitive NFC South.
Okay, next Chicago Bears, and now the Bears didn't have first round pick. In the second round, they took the best tight end in this draft in Cole Kmet, but they did not need him because you already have 9 tight ends in that draft, and you add another one. I know Clement's probably way better than all of them, but you stacked up on a lot of things. You could have gone to another side tight end later on. Now the next pick, the next second round pick is this might probably arguably from the entire draft my favorite pick, and that's Jalen Johnson, corner out of Utah. Had a first round grade on him. I had him going to the Niners. He falls here um halfway through the second round, so that's a great pick. The only pick I think I actually like from the Bears, along with the Cole Kmet, but the Cole Kmet is because they really didn't need him. But Jalen Johnson was a big need. Then they didn't have another pick until fifth round, and they went with edge Trevor Gibson. There were still some better ones, so that's kind of a reach. I think Curtis Weaver was still on the board. I had a first round grade on Weaver. Second round grade on Curtis Weaver, and he fell, and they didn't take him. Then they got another corner in Kindle Vildor. Still, there were some better corners. So that's another reach. Wide receiver, they go with Darnell Mooney. I mean, I think Proch was way better, but Darnell Mooney, he still did, I guess, add to the rotation. They didn't really need a big time one, just somebody for that rotation. They needed some O line to protect Nick Foles, and I think they waited too long. They didn't go into the last round, and I don't think they got the best that was available. Maybe the Arlington Hambright one is solid, but the Lachavis Simmons, I'm not big on him. They didn't address any of their linebacker needs, losing Nick Kwiatkowski, and there were a bunch of reaches in the draft. So I liked what they had done in free agency, but the draft I'm gonna go C plus just because I like the Jalen Johnson move and the Cole Kmet is solid. But C plus for the Bears.
For the Bears, I mean, I actually have them. I really like the draft. I give them a B plus because I love the players who I got as much as they're like reaches. But I've seen these guys. I've seen these guys play. I feel like they fit in this system with that coach. Cole Kmet, he's a great tight end out there. He could be a number one out there within 2-3 years. Jalen Johnson, I saw him coming out of Utah. Really loved him. I didn't really have him first round talent, but I mean, I seen him at Utah. I seen what he could do in those big games. Travis Gibson as well. I saw him at Tulsa, sorry, and that's a great pickup at that in that round. I think that's gonna be a great fit for him. As much as he's not a better talent than the other ones out there, but this is a great fit for this roster. They got their guards that they needed. Yeah, they were kind of reaches, but they got what they needed. That Darnell Mooney, I think he's gonna fit perfect in that system, whether it's with Trubisky or Nick Foles, where they start, whoever like, finishes that season. I give him a B plus because these aren't as talented, but they're gonna fit in this roster with that coach.
Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals, who had a great offseason and a great draft. Had a lot of picks in the draft and absolutely took phenomenal players. So, of course, they were going with Joe Burrow. I already said I believe Tua was the best one, but I knew why they had to go Joe Burrow. And anyway, Joe Burrow likes to run with great tall targets, so that's what you have for him in Cincinnati. And they added another one in the second round with T. Higgins. T. Higgins, to me, top 5 wide receiver in the draft. Had a first round grade on him. Didn't think he'd get drafted in the first round because other teams fell on other players, but I still believe he's way better than most players. He's better than a couple that were drafted in that first round. I would take T. Higgins over Justin Jefferson, over CeeDee Lamb. Really high on T. Higgins. That's a great pick for Cincinnati, especially since A.J. Green's probably almost done there. He'll be the replacement, and it's actually his favorite team. He grew up wanting to be like A.J. Green, and now he'll get to play with him. The next one, Logan Wilson. I don't know that much about him. I checked him up, so it's actually a pretty solid pick. Maybe there was a bit better, but still solid pick for Cincinnati's linebacking core. And they added the next one. This one's an absolute steal. Akeem Davis Gather. That's a great pickup for them. Another steal and edge, Khalid Kareem. I actually forgot to put what round these guys were from, but I know I'm seeing how they're going there from later rounds, so and I remember I said everything they did.
He went 147.
Offensive line Hakeem Adeniji, some solid rotation. And Hakeem, I actually had like a top 3 round grade on him. Marcus Bailey, I had him going, I believe, in the second round.
He dropped 215.
Yeah, I think that was a 6th or 7th round, so that's a good pick. Now, it's not very plus of it. Maybe there were a couple better, but they were great, phenomenal picks. And also, they're like the Arizona Cardinals. They need a tight end. They didn't address that situation. So I'm going to go with an A for the Cincinnati Bengals. Where do you have?
Yeah, I actually went A for.
Michael Bennett, the Cowboys. No, he's a free agent.
I actually went A for the Cincinnati Bengals, especially Joe Burrow. I think to me the best prospect. I mean, I like Tua. I think he's more talented, but for them a better fit. Joe Burrow. Uh, he's gonna go to Cincinnati. His basically his home. T Higgins, who I had going to the Packers. We'll talk about the Packers later on. Within these picks, and that's a great pickup for T Higgins. Going with Joe Burrow. I heard that beforehand they're already throwing balls to each other. They're already practicing, and they already have that communication. So that's gonna be great for them. Logan Wilson, I really like this pickup on the linebacking core that they barely have over there. And then another one, Akeem Davis Gather as well. That's going to be a great linebacking core. Could be one of the best out there from the young ones. The rest, I mean, I like the offensive tackle pickup, especially you need to protect Burrow because you couldn't protect Andy Dalton. I mean, that's why he's out as well. He couldn't produce that much with the offensive line that just started getting older and older. Uh, that Purdue guy, Marquise Bailey, also great steal, pick 215. Like Raymond just said, he was like a third round talent. He got him like around sixth, seventh round. I give him an A, especially with that Joe Burrow pickup that they got in the first overall pick.
Okay. Next up is one of their division rivals in the Cleveland Browns, who had this is my second and next A plus of this draft. So first of all, they took Jedrick Wills. In my opinion, he was the best offensive tackle in this draft. So you're going to pair him up with Jack Conklin. What Baker really needed was protection. They get him one of the best in Jedrick Wills, so that's a great pick. Absolutely love it. In the second round, they get Grant Delpit. Now, I didn't have kind of a first round on him for a long time. Then he fell. I think McKinney grew over him. I've always had a thing about some of the secondary players from LSU. Some of them aren't that great at tackling. That was a knock on Green last year. And kind of the same thing that happened to Green last year where Belichick traded in front of the Browns to take somebody else over him when he needed that position. He did the same thing. Belichick traded over the Browns to take another safety, and he didn't go Grant Delpit. And the Browns ended up getting Delpit. I didn't think they'd go Delpit because they had a new coach. I didn't think they wanted to keep going with the LSU chain. But they did. He saw it for their rotation, but I think it was too early to take a safety because they had made some great free agency moves. So I don't know where you're going to fit Delpit unless you're going to change someone's position there. But I think I could have gone another one later on and just had that rotation. The third round, here we go. Absolute steal with Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle out of Missouri. He was going on a lot of people's charts. Adam going in the second round, and there are guys like Madubuike were taken over him, and Neville Gallimore drafted over him. Absolute steal for him to drop to them at where they got him. Now they need a linebacker, Jacob Phillips, solid. I don't know. I'd go fourth round, but they got him I think late third round, so I guess that's solid for them. They added extra tight end depth with Harrison Bryant. He's a solid tight end. Now there were better ones, but you're getting him to be your third tight end, so yeah, you need to get any of the better ones. Offensive line help, just adding some more with Nick Harris. Well, and their final pick in the sixth round, the wide receiver. I'm a big fan of him. Now I knew he wasn't going to be a first or second round pick. I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have fallen out of the third round, but to get him in the sixth round, great pick. That's Donovan Peoples-Jones out of Michigan. Absolutely liked it. If anything, maybe missing an extra cornerback, but it wasn't as big on me because they do have great depth, and they can just get one for agency. So I'm going to go A plus for the Cleveland Browns. Second team that I actually love their draft, along with their division rival in the Ravens.
All right, the Cleveland Browns. I have an A actually. I really love their pickups. Jedrick Wills, Grant Delpit, great pickup. I mean, they had to get rid of one of their safeties. I know they did pick up some this off season. But the Jordan Elliott pickup, I mean, the fact that he went that late of round, if I'm not mistaken, the Cowboys went, uh, 82. I mean, come on, you need to get this guy. This guy's real talented from Missouri. And then obviously Jacob Phillips, you've seen that LSU defense. You'll see how he is. I don't know if this was correct. Did they actually get Harrison Bryant, the tight end from Florida Atlantic, which was also a great pickup considering the fact you got Austin Hooper. Maybe he could go within that little rotation that you guys have. And Njoku, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were going back and forth within the whole Gronk discussion. But I mean, this guy's a rookie. You can't knock this guy for being in a three tight end rotation because this guy's a rookie. He still needs to learn. Who knows? He will start some games depending on the situation. Their center, Nick Harris, really love that guy. You're adding more protection. with Jedrick Wills, and you got Jack Hawkland in the free agency. So now you're adding a center right there with Nick Harris and Donovan Peoples-Jones, also another underrated wide receiver out there. Some people were focusing on CeeDee Lamb and all that. These people got Donovan Peoples-Jones, considering the fact that Odell isn't doing and producing that well. So I give him an A for these pickups on the draft.
Okay, next is Rob Bell's gonna live here in this one, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah, steal of the draft.
That is still in the draft. So in my draft prediction, I had CeeDee Lamb being the first wide receiver taken because I felt the way they had mocked him and everything, oh, that's the best, and every team loved him.
Because he is.
But if I was drafting this, in my opinion, CeeDee Lamb would have been arguably the fourth or fifth wide receiver taken. I prefer the Alabama receivers over him, and I'm glad they both went over him. Jalen Reagor is way better than him. T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk. If anything, I'd only take CeeDee Lamb over Justin Jefferson. But there was a bunch of receivers way better than him, so Cowboy fans, you can call it a steal, but it wasn't. You got him exactly where I expected him to end up going. And also, it was not a need for the Dallas Cowboys. You should have addressed the corner position. It was one of the biggest needs first, but glad he's still on the board who I had mocked him. You really didn't need CeeDee Lamb that much, so not really excited that you got a guy out of value. Out of what's it called, just being how top they are on the board instead of getting a team need. This is what separates teams that win and teams that don't. Teams that win get what they need. Teams that don't. Next, they got Trayvon Diggs. I like Trayvon Diggs. Second round, respectable place to get him, but he did go over a corner that I thought grew over him in Christian Fulton. I watched Trayvon Diggs all his career. I liked him, but last year, he really disappointed me. He wasn't as great, and honestly, I believe Christian Fulton deserved to be drafted over him, and he wasn't. So that's kind of a big mistake on Dallas, but I think it's a solid pick. And I don't know if he's going to be the mandatory replace Byron Jones, because Byron wasn't as great last year. And let's go back to last season. Trayvon Diggs wasn't that great last year either. This one's a reach by the Cowboys. Neville Gallimore in the third round. Everybody loves this pick, but no. Jordan Elliott was still on the board. Cannot believe you chose Gallimore over him. Right, Jerry? I guess he likes the Oklahoma connections, but first of all, Oklahoma's not one of the best defensive colleges.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Elliott comes from the SEC where you get the better defensive players. Reggie Robinson in the fourth round, I actually like that pick now. Maybe he could have gone later, but he's solid to add to that cornerback core. Actually, he has great potential to be solid number 2 corner. So that's actually the first pick that I actually saw from the Cowboys that I actually liked. And came in their later rounds. Actually, their next 3 I actually liked. So Tyler Biadasz in the 4th round, that's a steal. I had a second round grade on him. My opinion was the best center in this draft, and they took him in the 4th round. So I actually love that move. Then they took Brandon Nee, great pick. Had a 3rd round grade on him. They took him in the 5th round, the edge rusher out of Utah. So absolutely love those picks. So the Robinson, Biadasz, Nate, great picks. And this shows that I don't think Dallas trusts that what's the name can get reinstated, and they're also not that sure with Aldon Smith. But it's great to have insurance. And Bradley Nee, great pick. Love that one. And they ended the draft with Ben DiNucci. They needed a backup quarterback, but I don't think you should have been Ben DiNucci. You should get a solid vet like a Cam Newton or Andy Dalton available. So I'm going to go with B+ for the Dallas Cowboys because their first 3 were reaches. I did like their next 3. The QB could have gone with somebody better. And they're another team I believe needs a tight end. Blake Jarwin isn't great, but you need another backup tight end. And they didn't address that situation. So I'm going to go B+ for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, the Dallas Cowboys. I actually have them going. I have them with a C+. I feel that they went with somewhat of talent, I guess, over evaluating the talent, considering the schools and all that, who they played with. CeeDee Lamb. I like this guy coming out, but the fact that you didn't really need this guy, you needed a corner, and the next person that you get, Trayvon Diggs. He didn't pop that much in these Alabama games. I didn't really see him do that well. I seen him get smoked. And the other guy, Reggie Robinson, is like an okay pick. I feel like it's kind of a reach for me. Neville Gallimore as well. You just saw the past team. Who was it? The Browns. That got was it the Browns?
Yeah,
Jordan Elliott. So I mean, this guy, it was part of the Oklahoma team who was ranked, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 115th in all the schools in defense. So, I mean, are you really going to trust this guy from that school? And then the center was, I really like the center, Tyler Biadasz. He was a steal considering that the Utah guys coming out, these are all steals, Bradley and E. So, I mean, that was a pretty good defensive player, and that quarterback. I mean, you saw his tweets. I don't know if Cowboy fans are happy with what he said about Tony Romo. And I mean, overall, they kind of went around talent and overrating these people. We all saw that last year that talent couldn't win basically anything. They didn't go to the playoffs. So talent itself not gonna cut it out.
Well, coaching is.
But I mean, you were blaming the coaching all the time. So
that means the Buccaneers are gonna be good, right?
um,
They said they weren't. Said they wouldn't fit with Brady and all that.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are gonna fit, especially when we have this type of off season where it's virtual and not many people are gonna get to get the playbook as great.
Yeah. So I give them a C plus.
Okay, next we have Denver Broncos. My third A plus of the draft. I said everything they needed to get, they got it. That is some wide receiver core, and they got. Now this is what I call steal. Cannot believe the Raiders passed on him. They got the best wide receiver in this draft, most complete receiver in Jerry Jeudy. Then they added KJ Hamler, so that's just speed along with Courtland Sutton. So they have a great.
They didn't get Jerry Jeudy.
The Broncos.
Yeah.
I thought you said the Raiders.
No, I said I can't believe the Raiders passed on him. KJ Hamler, so you add speed there. They have a great wide receiving trio now. Oh, and Deshaun Hamilton, you can't forget about him in that for Drew Lock. They added an extra corner, Michael Ojemilio, in the third round. I could have seen him going to fourth, maybe the third, so that's a solid pick for them. In the third round, they got Lloyd Cushenberry. I had a second round grade on him, so that's great offensive line to add to that Denver O-line. Then they got a defensive tackle in the third round, Telvin Agim. That's kind of a little bit of reach, but I don't think we'll see him play that much because they have great defensive tackles. They got a phenomenal tight end, Albert Aquibunam. I'm a big fan of him. We wanted the Patriots to get him. Instead, he went to the Broncos, and he's going to join Noah Fant. So that offense is stacked. The O-line is built. You got two solid tight ends. You got two solid running backs, and you have a receiving core, so no excuses for locking the Broncos. And they had a great picks to the defense. They had a linebacker in Justin Strand as well in the fifth round. Hope Huggs be rotational. The team Muti, that's another great offensive lineman to add, and that's a steal again in the sixth round. I had a third round grade on him. That an extra receiver in Tyreek Cleveland. Don't think he makes the roster, so I think he could have got something else there. And then Edge, actually, this is their last pick. I actually like him. I think it's a great value where they got him, Derek Tuska. I think he could actually make it to that team. So solid draft for John Elway and the Broncos, A plus, along with the Browns and the Ravens.
Yeah, this is actually I agree. This is my second A plus. They got the better wide receiver in Jerry Jeudy. He's gonna be a perfect fit for them, considering the fact that he's gonna take over some games, and sometimes you're gonna have to go second gear and let Courtland Sutton go. And they got this guy KJ Hamler, who's also gonna be part of that rotation within the 1, 2, and 3 slots of wide receivers, depending on the playing schemes that they have. You have that guy from Iowa as well, the corner that they got. It's also going to be a really great pickup considering the fact that you got, what's his name, AJ Boye and free agency, and the center Lloyd Cushenberry as well. You're going to need protection for Drew Lock. So considering the fact with all these linebackers that the Raiders had this past free agency that they got, and that great D line of the Chiefs, and you have to compete with all that, so you need to get that center. That defensive tackle as well. I agree with Raymond with that. He's a reach. But the tight end is not Albert. I can't really pronounce his name, but he's a real great tight end to pair up with Noah Fant, and that offense is gonna be really stacked. They got some linebackers a linebacker that's gonna be really good. Two linebackers, I think, and that guard as well for Fresno State is gonna be really great for Drew Lock this year. I give him an A plus.
All right, now we got the Motor City, the Detroit Lions, and not a fan of this draft. Now, the Jeff Okudah round one, I understood he's the best corner, but they really need to get a corner now. They have great young corners that Desmond Trufant could coach up, and you could have traded and added more picks because honestly, Patricia, this is arguably your last year. You could have built with a more future with more picks, and there's a lot of teams that could have traded. He said he didn't like what they offered, so I mean, Jeff Okudah's not a bad pick at all, but you could have gotten picks for him, especially when you could have still been fine with the young, promising corners that Desmond Trufant could coach. Now they got a great running back in the second round, but don't know if they needed him. They got DeAndre Swift. A lot of people had him as the first. I think I had him as the third best running back in this draft. They have Kerryon Johnson. I don't get it. Maybe they don't trust his health. And I'm a big fan of Bo Scarborough, but I know Bo Scarborough's not your typical running back that you want as a starting one. So I can understand why they added DeAndre Swift rotation. So I'm gonna go with I'm 50-50 on that pick. Now in the third round, getting Julian Okwara, the pair of his brother. Now that's a steal. I had Okwara going early second round, so they get him early third round. Great pick for the Lions. I'd say that's probably my favorite pick from them. Along with the next one, the offensive lineman Jonah Jackson. That's you got him the value that you can get him a third round pick, the offensive lineman from Ohio State, so that's good. They got Logan Sternberg in the fourth. I think that was kind of a reach. Wide receiver, they went with Quintus Cephas. There was better ones, especially James Porch, but Quintus Cephas solid, I guess. Then they added another running back in Jason Huntley. Don't think it was a need. They could have gone anywhere else. And they add defensive tackle with John Pennicini. Now that's what they need. They should have gone Derek Brown around one. They go with John Pennicini. I don't know if it was better, but I mean, guess I'm fine with the Pennicini move. Then they added another one, Jashawn Cornell. Don't think he makes it to our roster. So there was some reaches, and there was still some picks that, like I said, weren't big needs. So I'm gonna go C plus for the Lions. Did not like this draft at all for them.
All right, the Lions. I actually had them at a B minus. Their their pickups were really solid. I really like Jeff Okuda. Obviously, he was gonna go third. He was the best corner out there. The talent of DeAndre Swift was really good, considering the fact that I don't know if he's gonna be playing all that much. Maybe the second man. I agree with Raymond with Julian Okwara to pair up with his brother. He was also a great linebacker at Notre Dame. I really like this guy. And Jonoa Jackson from Ohio State, the guard, also to protect that old quarterback that they have, that they should have replaced. They could have gotten a quarterback at least if you traded something for him. And then the other guard that they got from Kentucky, I mean, it's kind of a reach too. I didn't really like that. The wide receiver, and it was from Wisconsin. Didn't really like Wisconsin last season offensively. I mean, I think they struggled against Oregon's defense. It wasn't that good. Another Utah guy I really like, John Pennicini. I really like that guy coming out of Utah. And then that uh, defensive end from Ohio State, Cornell. I think he was a solid pickup from where they got it from. I had to go with a B minus. It wasn't like a bad draft, considering the fact their first three that I really like in the last two. So I give them a B minus for this draft.
Okay, now the next team got my worst grade in the draft, and I wasn't even a big fan of their off-season free agency, and that's the Green Bay Packers. Now round one, they take Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love needs some help still, but you should have gone wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers. I know I had heard that they were going to take him if they had the chance to, but why did you trade up for him? Nobody else is going to take him. The teams you traded up didn't even need him and weren't going to take him. So that was a mistake trading up for him and not getting one of the best receivers available. And it's understandable that maybe you could have just gone one in the next couple rounds, but then it just gets worse after that. They have A.J. Dillon. I'm a big fan of Dillon, but don't know he was going to go in the second round. But I guess for what they're adding him to, he isn't. They really didn't need to go with one of the better ones, so you add him with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, so that's a solid rotation. I like him and all, but still not a receiver. And another need with a tight end, and they go with Josiah Deguara when there was way better ones, so that's a reach, big time reach. Still no wide receiver. Now we're in the fifth round, so another round has passed, and they go linebacker Kamal Martin. They need a linebacker, but this wasn't one of the best you could have gotten out there. And then they just finished out the draft by going offensive line because they needed to add, and they just went with John Runyon, Jake Hansen, and Simon Stepaniak. I don't like the Simon Stepaniak one. And they added a safety in Vernon Scott. Not big of a need for them. And they ended with Edge Jonathan Garvin. That's a solid pick, probably. Maybe along with the A.J. Dillon, my favorite pick, but disappointed you did not take a wide receiver. There's a lot of reaches, and your defense still needs help. I was still fine with the offensive line. I would have been fine with taking one or two offensive linemen when you guys went with three. And you took the QB, I believe, big early. There was no need to trade up for a guy that was going to still follow you at where you guys were sitting in the first round. So, Green Bay, don't know what you're doing. C.
I give him actually. This is my worst grade, a C minus. Um, I don't understand the Jordan Love pickup. I like this guy. I mean, he was to me what, fifth to behind Jake Fromm. Uh, I don't know why history repeats itself with Brett Favre, with John Elway when they picked up quarterbacks in the draft. I guess for the good guys, the great quarterbacks out there, then the history's gonna repeat. Their pickups were too much reaches. I don't know why they got AJ Dillon. They have a good running back core with Jamal Williams and the other guy, what's his name? Aaron Jones. And then that tight end, just a big reach. I didn't really like their draft. I mean, other than the offensive guards that they got, they could have just gotten one in that center. I mean, just to replace that they lost Ryan Bulaga because they got decent new guard. But I mean, other than that, I don't know what the Packers are doing. They want to progress. They should have seen. Hey, the Bears are game stacked players. The Vikings, we haven't talked about them, but they're game stacked players. And who else is left in their division? There's the Lions. I mean, and they had like a solid draft, but I mean they had a very great, in my opinion, the Packers. Now, why not strengthen that offense for Aaron Rodgers? He really has Devontae Adams. You lost Geronimo Addison. You need to pick up that offense. And that defense, I mean, it's solid, but you could have gotten better. So I give them a C minus. I did not like this draft by the Packers. I don't know how they're gonna pick up from last season.
I liked it.
And of course, he would like it because he's a Packers hater. He's because they always kick the Cowboys out of the playoffs and all that.
Happy that Aaron Rodgers won't be beating them in Jerry World anymore.
And maybe it might be Jordan Love beating them, but this draft this draft got a C minus for me. So I didn't really like this draft for the Packers.
Okay, now the Houston Texans, who were really criticized for their free agency. I absolutely like their free agency, and I get their draft was solid. Round 2, they needed a defensive tackle. They went with Ross Blacklock. Now, Martin Davidson was better, but Blacklock, I actually had him going in the first round. You could have been a point toss between Blacklock and Martin Davidson, so great pick, replacing TJ Rio or Blacklock. And then in the third round, they get an edge in Jonathan Greenard. I thought he'd go maybe late second, early third, so that's a great value where they got him. I like Greenard out of Florida. Then another defense tackle in Charlie Heck. Now this one, not a big fan of this one. This one's their little reach. Like, they did get a corner in John Reed. Now, some people, there probably were better ones than him, but I think he's solid. I actually liked him. I think he's a perfect fit for the Texans for their rotation there. Now, the wide receiver, Isaiah Cutler, he can play, but like I said, Josh Procey was on the board. That was still a bit better. So they had some solid, good picks, and some you can call it a little reach. I think they need an extra tight end, so that's why I'm going to go with an A or even a plus or minus. I'm going to go with solid B because they can be better or they can be worse, but actually, it's a solid draft, but they did have a good free agency. They just got the piece they needed. And I trust Houston to still be good because they got Deshaun Watson.
I do agree with the point with the last point on Deshaun Watson. It might save him, but I give him a C. I didn't. Other than the first two picks that they got, the other ones are. I don't know. I didn't really like their draft as well. It wasn't as bad as the Packers, but the rest, other than Jonathan Greenard, Blacklock, the other ones they're kind of reaches for me. The wide receiver's okay, but I mean they could have gotten better. I think they need to pick up this team, and hopefully, like Raymond says, that Deshaun Watson could pick them up. But and the best grade I could give him is the C for the Houston Texans.
All right. Another divisional rival, the Indianapolis Colts. I like their draft and I like their offseason. And then they started off their draft with one of my favorite receivers in the draft, top 10 receiver in my opinion, and a steal, Michael Pittman. Well, not a steal actually, Michael Pittman Jr. I expected him to go in the second round, so it's a great pickup. They needed an extra wide receiver impairment with T.Y. Hilton. Then they get now this one, great pick, Jonathan Taylor to add to that running back core. I had Jonathan Taylor as my second best running back, so that's great to add to that core. Then you get in the third round safety, Julian Blackmon. Great value to get him there. I think he's a third round pick. Pair him up with Malik Hooker. Then they get a quarterback in Jacob Eason. I'm a big Eason fan. I prefer him over Love. And they didn't even have to get him in day 2. They waited till day 3, so that's a great steal for them. I see an offensive lineman in Danny Pinter in the 5th round. I expected him to go there, so that's great. Then the 6th round, they went with Robert Winslow. great pick to add there. I actually like Windsor, and I think I wouldn't have been surprised if he gone earlier because I liked him. But yeah, I expect him to go in the 6th round. Isaiah Rogers is a bit of a questionable one that corner, but they are a little bit stacked at that corner position. But I think they could have gone with somebody better. Then an extra receiver in Desmond Patton in the 6th round. I like Patman. Many approach was better, but this is a really stacked receiving class. So many of these guys can be pops and flops. And linebacker, they added next one to Jordan Glasgow. Great pick, 2nd round. I actually liked it. To be honest, I enjoyed the Colts draft. I'm going to go A+. I think they got what they needed. The only thing that I have concerning the Colts is the QB position. I don't trust Philip Rivers, but they have Jacob Eason. So Rivers sucks. I think Eason can do good with this defense and his weapons, that phenomenal O-line. So A+ for the Colts. Rick Ballard, or what's his name? Chris Ballard showing that he's one of the smartest and best GMs in this league. Great draft for him.
Yeah, I agree, but I do have him at a B+. I think that's the best grade I could give him. A B+.
I thought you said D.
No. Michael Pittman, from USC. I mean, he's a good pickup. I didn't really like him that much. Some people were raving over him, but I mean, let's see what he does in that offense. Jonathan Taylor, I think he was the most talented running back out of what's it called? Where is he from? Wisconsin. He was probably the best player from Wisconsin out there. The other Utah player the safety from Julian Blackmon, the quarterback from Washington. I really like Jacob Eason. He had great big games out there during Saturday nights. And then again, a guard. I mean, let's see what they do. You saw what they did with what's his name? The guard that they got.
Pinter, Danny Pinter.
No, the other guy that they got before.
In this draft?
No, last draft?
2 drafts ago. Quentin
Yeah,
Wilson.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, overall a B+. I think that's a fair one for me. Isaiah Rogers, Desmond Patman, they're good pickups for where they got them. So a B+ is the best grade I could give them. I'm really excited to see Jacob Eason start over Philip Rivers eventually. Then let's see how that goes. But a B+ is the best grade I could give the Colts. And next is the Jaguars, right?
Yes, the Jaguars. Okay, so the Jaguars got arguably my favorite corner in this draft is C.J. Henderson in the 1st round. I might go a little bit of a reach. I don't think he was going to go that early, but they need a corner. They're going to replace Jalen Ramsey with him, but they still need more help, of course, because that whole team is garbage. Getting K'Lavon Chasen, that's a huge deal. I thought Chasen could probably end up going earlier to Dallas, and he fell to the Jaguars, so great value to where they got him. So those 2 great picks for them to start the 1st round. 2nd round, Laviska Shenault. I like Shenault. I had him going in the 1st round for a long time, but that injury affected him. He doesn't have any big expectations because you're going to pair him up with DJ Chark, Chris Conley, and D.D. Westbrook, so he doesn't have to do that much. But I'm pretty sure he will probably pop over 2 of those guys along with DJ Chark. Shark. Baby Shark. Then they added the defense tackle Davon Hamilton. Solid guy. They're probably a bit better there. Actually drafted a lot of people. Then they added some offensive line help from Ben Barch. I actually like him. I think you could have gotten the 5th round, they got him the 4th. But Josiah Scott was kind of a reach at that corner in the 4th. Oh, this one I actually liked in the 4th. Shaquille Quarterman thought he'd go earlier, but a lot of people haven't fallen. And I said, where we're going, he'd be solid for them. They needed some linebacker help, especially now with Telvin Smith getting in trouble for what he did with the Miners. So Shaquille Quarterman's going to probably fill in that role, or not. He'll be on the other side. And they added Joe Sherber, so they got a great new young linebacking quarterback. So remember they had it a couple years ago, they now started fading. Now they got a new one. They added safety Daniel Thomas. I think this solid value for where they got him. Now I do like the receiver that they got in the 5th round, Colin Johnson out of Texas. They are hitting a lot of receiving course, so there may be some receivers they don't trust, and maybe I don't know if Colin Johnson makes it or other ones and don't. I think he should make it. I really like him, but they are one of these teams that just have too many receivers. I don't know why they added him. And they added QB and Jacob Luton. This just shows they could have gone with any of the better ones, but this just shows they're going to tank. They didn't go one of the best ones. They go with Jacob Luton, just have him there. They did get a reach in that tight end Tyler Davis. There was a lot better, especially Hunter Bryant went undrafted. They, like I said, needed more corner help, and they reached with Chris playbooks. So I will go B because there were half that I like and half I didn't. There were some good, some bad. I think they should have gone more defensive tackles, losing what's his name, Calais Campbell. I think it's a 50-50 draft for me. It's half good, half bad. They didn't add any running back because I said they needed some depth for Fournette, and now they want to get rid of Fournette, so like they're gonna be horrible running back wise. They even add an extra tight end because all they have is Tyler Eifert who can't stay healthy and Josh Oliver, but I think it's too early to put him as your number one. And I think they should add a little bit more to that secondary, at least better players secondary. So I'm gonna go B.
All right, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I give them an A minus. I really love who they picked up, C.J. Henderson, who I really loved him for my team, but he got picked at 9th overall. Clavon Chasen, that's gonna be a really good linebacker for them. Wide receiver Laviska Shenault, who oh my god, from Colorado, he's also gonna be a threat with that receiving core out there. Devon Hamilton as well is going to be really good. And I mean, I don't think it was really a reach for them. Some people were saying that it was a reach. I really like this pickup for them. And um, offensive tackle Ben Borach, right? That's how you pronounce it. Something like that. From St. John's, it was a reach as well. The offensive tackle. But I mean, majority of the time, these corners that they got, these key linebackers, defensive tackles that they got, I really love these pickups for them. But I mean, yeah, they got an A minus. But I feel like they are gonna be like under like maybe like 6, 7 wins. They are gonna be tanking. I wouldn't be surprised if they get Trevor Lawrence next year, just to try to pick up that team, just like how the Bengals are doing with Joe Burrow. That's why they got the. That's why they got the Oregon State guy who wasn't it was kind of like iffy. But I give him an A minus. I did really like those defensive key pickups.
All right, next up is the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, who didn't do that much. The Patriots in the free agency, but like I said, they're a pretty stacked team. So I'm gonna do what they and they did. They added Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Some will call it a reach, but it's the type of running back they needed. They didn't need one of those top ones. So for Justin Herbie, solid pick. Linebacker Willie Gay, I think that's kind of a reach, but I mean, I think he can play in the league. Could have gone in the 3rd or 4th round. Now Lucas Niang in the 3rd round, that's a great pick. I'm going in the 2nd round. Then they added safety LaJarvis Sneed in the 4th round. Just some secondary depth. In the 5th round, they love Michael Dana edge. I think there was a bit better, especially with Dana going Bradley and A. Then they added an extra corner in Tarkavius Cagus. They was better than him, but that was their last pick. They're not big name players, but they're okayish, and Kansas State's still a good team, so most of these guys probably won't even start for them. So I'm gonna go B. They did what they needed, and they had the potential because of the good coach that they have. Some of these guys end up turning out to be stars.
Yeah, I actually went B minus with this one. Yeah, they got what they needed. Somewhat. I didn't think that they would go running back within the 1st round. Um, I feel like they should have gotten corner in the 1st round. They could have left that maybe for like the last pick or something. At least like you didn't really need maybe like a 1 or 2 guy for rotation. They needed someone rotationally in the running back core. And then Willie Gay also a 63 pick for Mississippi State. He's gonna be really good for that linebacking core that kind of needed some help in my opinion. Then that safety was kind of a reach from Louisiana Tech. But I mean, I understand why they got him. That's something that might fit their system, and they needed to fix that secondary that wasn't all that good until like maybe the second half of the game. But I give them a B minus. The rest of the picks were okay, but that's why I give them that B minus for the Chiefs.
All right, now the Las Vegas Raiders, who had a very controversial draft, but then they had that last year and it turned out really well. These guys were great that they took. So in the 1st round, they went with Henry Ruggs. I feel like it should have been Jerry Jeudy, but I get why they get it. They got him. They want to contend with the Chiefs and the Broncos, who got speed at the receiving core. So Henry Ruggs, you get speed in him. You got Carr, who can fling it out there. So I'm not going to really be mad on this one because to me, in my opinion, Ruggs should have been the 2nd receiver drafted. So it's still 1 or 2 is the matter. And I'm not going to judge John Gruden because we all judged him last year and he proved us wrong. And it's not a Bama guy. I do like Ruggs. I just think Judy was better, but solid pick. Now this one I am kind of controversial on. It could work out. It reminds me of the Cleveland Farrell pick, and that's Damon Arnett. A big reach. Had a second round, maybe third round grade on him. And, Cleveland Farrell panned out when they took him with the fourth overall, so maybe Arnett can pan out, especially since he doesn't have to be the legit number one because you do have Trayvon Mullen, and maybe he can move down to two because they did add a lot to that secondary. Now, they did add some extra receivers in Lynn Bowden and Brian Edwards. Both receivers great, like them both, but I don't know if they'll make it because they have too much of a great receiving core. There's too many guys, and a bunch of them that I like are gonna get cut. And maybe one of these guys only make it, or both, and they're great quality starting receivers in this league. Tanner Moose, not a lot of people like him. They did get him in the third round. Yeah, you could have argued they could have gotten him later, but I like him because he's a versatile player, and I like versatile guys. He can play safety. He can play linebacker. Seems like a John Gruden, Belichick type of guy, Pete Carroll. So, great pick for Gruden. Yeah, maybe we'll reach. Then they get an offensive lineman in John Simpson. They need him. I think they needed a bit to the offensive line. I'm not sure on John Simpson one. I do like their fourth round corner there. The next one, Amik Robertson. That's a great value pick. Thought he should have gone there, and they got him there. So I'm going to go with B plus on this draft because I think I like some of the players and they have great potential. And John Gruden proved us wrong last year. I'm not going to doubt him this year. He had a controversial draft last year. Had it this year. Last year it worked out. We'll see if it works out this year too.
I actually went B. I really like the Henry Ruggs pickup with that speed. Now they need Derek Carr since they can't really protect him as well. Maybe he could throw the ball at first read with Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett. I was kind of like iffy about this pick, but after seeing how he did in Ohio State, he didn't do obviously as well as Jeff Okuda, but he did a fair share good for Ohio State. I didn't really like the running back pickup. I feel like it was kind of a reach for me. Uh, the two back, no, they did get wide receiver at South Carolina. I didn't really like him coming out. I feel like he's just gonna be like like I don't know, maybe a bench player or something like that. I don't know if he's gonna even make it to the team. Uh, but other than that, I mean, it was a solid pickups. I give him a B. I think that's very solid for what they did. Yeah, I mean, he semi proved us wrong with that pickup of what's his name, uh, that running back that they got last season.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
I actually like that pick. I knew he was going to be good.
And but let's see. I mean, the Henry Ruggs. That's my favorite pickup so far.
Alabama is one of my favorites.
Henry Ruggs is going to be a great wide receiver for him. But I give him a B for this pickup. So next are the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh yeah, the Chargers. They started it. Oh, they had an okay-ish draft. First of all, not a big fan of Herbert. Don't like him going there.
I do. Yeah, Herbert, Justin Herbie, he's gonna be the next Super Bowl champ, and yeah, don't be surprised. You heard it here first, folks.
Before Dak Prescott, right?
Maybe not before that.
First of all, I do think Herbert could be successful, but if he went to the right team with an absolute coach that could coach him, Anthony Lynn, overrated. He's been carried by this team, and I don't think he's way over his head. I don't think he's a great coach. So this wasn't one of the best teams he could go to. He can play. He just needs a better coach. I don't like this Chargers pick of them. And unfortunately, I don't know Tyrod Taylor, and I think Tyrod's going to struggle, and he's going to just throw Herbert into the fire. He could end up becoming like a Josh Rosen. I was a big fan of Rosen. He just needed a great team, and he just got thrown into a horrible situation twice, and this could be happening with Herbert. Now then they traded up to get Kenneth Murray. Sadly, I wanted the Patriots to get who the Patriots traded back, and if the Chargers get him at that pick, great pickup. They needed a linebacker, and Kenneth Murray, after Isaiah Simmons, to me, was the best linebacker in this draft. I'm a big fan of him. Probably the only Oklahoma player I like in this draft. Running back Joshua Kelly out of UCLA. Solid to have him behind what's his name, Eckler. So he's out there. He can play. I like him. I think he saw the value where they got him. Now, wide receiver Joe Reed is a questionable one. I think that was a reach. I didn't see him being drafted. I thought he'd be an undrafted one. Then the sixth round, I go Alohi Gilman. Yeah, I expect him to go sixth round. That's solid. Adam Lee and Derwin James. Now, their last pick, KJ Hill. I like that pick. I thought he would go third, maybe at worst fourth, getting him the seventh round. So That's a great pick. I'm gonna go B minus because I do have some of these picks questionable and fit wise. So B minus, but some great picks. Some don't like some of the fits.
The Chargers, I actually give him an A minus. This is where the minus comes in from. Justin Herbert. He he has a great arm. I give him that. I give him that much. But sometimes a great arm doesn't win you that much. I mean, you see, the great quarterbacks of Peyton Manning. He didn't have a great arm. He had a great mind. He has great skill sets. He knows how to read a defense. At the beginning, yeah, he started pretty good, but it's how you end it as well. And just like how they knock off Joe Burrow for how he started in his career, but how he ended it, that's what got him to be the top pick. But he started off pretty good in the beginning of the season, and then he started falling off, and he had like an iffy game against that iffy Wisconsin. Uh, and then because he scores one touchdown in the Senior Bowl, he went the senior MVP or whatever. Congratulations, that's more like a participation grade for them. No one really looks at that.
Bill Belichick does.
Well, you know what?
His first pick was actually from Senior Bowl.
That's Bill Belichick, but this guy's not Bill Belichick from the Chargers, and that's where the minus comes from. I mean, you could be a good talent, but again, just like Raymond says, if they throw him into the fire so early, and he's not ready because he can't read defenses. I've seen his games that he can't read defenses. He does bad throws where he can't read it. He's gonna be like Josh Rosen out there. Where I mean, the Cowboys should have got it at least. If you can't get Dak, get Josh Rosen. Kenneth Murray, who I thought was gonna go to the Saints, another good pickup, and I agree with the KJ Hill as well. It's gonna be a great wide receiver to pair up. Yeah, what's his name? Mike Williams, is it? The other guy. Yeah. If they can produce, he's gonna do good things out there. Nateo Justin Herbert does do good. He's gonna have KJ Hill out there, helping him out. But overall, other than that, Justin Herbert, that was a iffy pick for me. I mean, obviously the media makes him seem so good, but if you go back and you look at his games towards the end, you're gonna see what me and Raymond see, and where it's overrated because he's at Oregon and that good college. It was kind of iffy. I mean, you don't really see that many good Oregon players out there.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota.
And where's he at? He's a backup. Yeah, he.
Job to Tannehill. What a loser. Who loses their job to Tannehill?
So.
What do you mean?
No.
He didn't good. He was a receiver transformed quarterback.
That's why they left him, and now look at who's starting for the Dolphins.
Mariota what, a second overall pick? Tannehill wasn't even that. Mariota had bigger expectations.
So, I don't expect that much. I mean, hopefully this kid has a good career, but I don't see what Rock Depp sees in Justin Herbert. But I give him an A minus.
All right. Now we got the next Los Angeles team, who I actually said I wasn't a big fan of their offseason. I think they were my worst grade offense in the offseason in free agency, my God. But they knocked it out of the park with the draft. The Los Angeles Rams. They needed running backs, add to Malcolm Brown and Darnell Henderson. Now Cam Akers, they're going to reach, but some of the good ones were already gone, so I understand why they want him for first state. Absolutely love him. Get him the second round. That's great value. Pair up, like I said, with Darnell Henderson and Malcolm Brown. And they just lost Todd Gurley, so now they have a great running back core. Van Jefferson, I thought he'd go in the third round. They get him in the second round, and I'm fine with him getting in the second round. You pair him up with Josh Reynolds, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp. So Van Jefferson out of Florida, I thought Brady's Bucks should have gotten him. A great pick for the Rams there, liked it. Terrell Lewis, edge out of Alabama, watched him a lot. Great player. They really needed to get somebody who can play defense and a linebacker. He can play both, so great pick for them there. They had safety Terrell Burgess in the third round. Now that's a bit of a reach, but he saw safety, and they are pretty good at safety with the guy that drafted last year, I think Justin Rapp. Oh, did they lose Eric Will? Then I think they needed an extra safety. Now the tight end, they had Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett. Don't think they needed a third one, but they did get a third one, and they got one that I like. Bryson Hopkins. Now he has a lot of speed. Now some people question on his deep passes, but I liked him. I saw it a lot of Purdue. One of the tight ends I would have loved to see the Patriots get, but great pick for McVay to add to that tight end group. They added another safety, Jordan Fuller. I think this is great value getting him the sixth round. That's where I expected him to go. The linebacker that they ended in round 7, Clay Johnson. Not a big fan of him, but probably the best available there was. I actually have 2 more picks for that. But they get a kicker in Sam Sloman. Now, you lost Greg the Leg, and I don't think Sloman should have been the replacement. There was still Rodrigo Blankenship.
Who got Greg the Leg?
The Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
They could have gotten Rodrigo Blankenship, who went undrafted, and I believe is way better than Sloman. Then they added some O-line help with Tremont. That's a pretty solid pick. And they got him set round, so great value. I'm going to go A-. I think they needed more safeties and linebackers. And also minus, the kicker wasn't one of the best ones there. So, but it's still a pretty solid draft. I like how they started off. Maybe they just didn't end it that strong, but the guys that they got are enough to get them an A. Great draft by McVay. And I know everybody wants to overhype the Cardinals and everything they got, but I could see McVay and the Rams finishing in 3rd again. They have a great team.
Okay, the Rams. I actually see the opposite of what Raymond sees. He sees a out of the park hit run, home run, and all that. I see more of like a foul ball, a strike. I didn't really like their pickups this season, on the off season or the draft. I give them a C plus. I really like the tight end, Bryson Hopkins, and then the safety Terrell Burgess from Utah. Again, another Utah player. These Utah players are coming out really strong this season. Also Terrell Lewis from Alabama. But other than that, I didn't really like their pickups. Now, I give them a C plus because of the Bryson Hopkins pickup. I mean, yeah, they had somewhat of tight ends and all that. I do like the tight ends. They have a good tight end core. They could use this guy somewhat. But other than that, C plus. That's the best grade I could give them. I'm not really impressed with the Rams this season. Yes, McVay's a really great coach, but I think the Cardinals are gonna rise up and they're gonna take them out of the 3rd spot.
All right. So what you give C plus?
Yeah.
Now we got the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins had so many picks, and this is my next A plus. We get Tua, who in my opinion was the best quarterback. I'm glad they did not take Herbert over him. Tua's the sure can't miss pick, but do not mess him up. Sit him out this year. Don't start him until next year. I would let him get fully healthy the way KD and Kyrie are trying to do. Now the offensive tackle was a bit of a reach. That's probably the pick I did not like the most, Austin Jackson. Then they end their first round with Noah Igbahini, adding him with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. Now, I really like Nick Needham, so I didn't think they should have replaced him. Those were probably the only picks I wasn't really big on. The next 2 in the first round, but Igbahini is great to have corner depth. I don't think he should start over Nick Needham. I like him. Nick Needham, very underrated corner. Okay, now offensive line, they go Robert Hunt, great value. Expected him to go in the 2nd round pick. Raekwon Davis, one of my favorite defensive tackles in this draft. So great, they get him in the 2nd round. Brandon Jones in the 3rd round, that's great value. I expect him to be a 3rd round pick because they lose Rasheed Jones, so they go younger and a great safety out of Texas. Solomon Kindley in the 4th. I thought he'd go earlier, so that's kind of a mini steal for me. Jason Strowbridge, defensive tackle of UNC. 5th round grade I had on him, and they got him in 5th round, so they're getting everybody great value. Now, this was arguably their biggest steal of the draft in the 5th round, taking Curtis Weaver. I thought he should have gone in the 2nd round. Cannot believe he fell to the 5th round. Great pickup for the Miami Dolphins. Then they get a long snapper in Blake Ferguson. Don't know that much about him. And they added a receiver, Malcolm Perry. I don't think Malcolm Perry would make it. I think they was better than him. But solid pick. I'm gonna go A plus. I liked everything. Probably just the last pick I wasn't a big fan of. But Dolphins are doing all the right things, and they have 10 more picks still the next year, so they're gonna get young and grow. And by the way, their oldest player is only Fitzpatrick, and he's their only player over 30, so they're really young. And they're going to be a promising, great team for the future.
Yeah, and
AFC East champs.
I give them. I like their pickups. I give them a B. Because I didn't really like the Austin Jackson. I feel like at 18 there was better offensive tackles. I think that's my big knock on them because I mean you just got Tua. Yeah, if you sit him down, but then you still have to suffer through the pressure on what's his name, Fitzpatrick, or sometimes you're gonna play Josh Rosen if you still have him in that roster. So Austin Jackson was a reach for that. I like Robert Hunt. It was a good value at that pick. The Noah guy from Auburn, corner as well. He was like first round talent for me. And he did go in the first round, number 30th pick. So I mean, overall, I really like the draft, but I give him a B for the rest of the picks. I didn't really know that much about these guys. The guy from Texas, I didn't really watch him that much. I like the Curtis Weaver pickup. I feel like he was like first, second round talent to get him at 164th. That was a good value for him. And then the rest, they're like iffy. I don't know, that running back, Malcolm Perry, But I mean, they still picked up
He's a
like,
running back. I thought he was a wide receiver.
no, well, he's from Navy, yeah, running back, Malcolm Perry, 246. But I mean, you did get that running back from the Niners, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. So I give him a B.
All right, now we got the Minnesota Vikings, who was not a big fan of their free agency, but loved their draft. Now, like I said, Justin Jefferson wasn't one of my favorite receivers, but I said I would only like it if he got drafted to a team where he could be a number 2 wide receiver, and that is where he did get drafted to the Minnesota Vikings to be second to Adam Thielen. So I believe he will strive as a number 2. I'm glad nobody took him to be their number 1. Jeff Gladney, I had him going to the Cowboys, and he falls to them late, around 29, I believe. That's a great pick. He really, he's a very clamped down corner. You lost Xavier Rhodes, so you add him along with Trey Waynes. I don't know the rest of that secondary, but I think they need a bit more help on it. But Jeff Gladney to be your number 1 is phenomenal. So first round, great. Second round, Ezra Cleveland. I'm glad nobody reached him in the first round. I have him second round. I think this is good. And there was rumors that they wanted to get what's it called, Trent Williams, the what's it called, offensive tackle that was the Niners run guy. They didn't go with an older one. They go with a younger one. A younger one in what's it called, Ezra Cleveland. Then corner Cameron Dancer. I had a third round grade on him. They got him in the third round, so that's great value. Now the edge rusher, they got DJ Wondum. Don't know that much about him. The defensive tackle James Lynch, great pick, fourth round. I think he got him a bit later, but I'm fine if they got him earlier. Like him later. Oregon linebacker Troy Dye, thought he would be a second round pick. Getting him in the fourth round, that's great value. Wide receiver KJ Osborne, don't know that much about him. I think there was better. That's probably one that wasn't one of my favorite. Then another corner, Harrison Hand. He's solid. There's probably a bit better. Blake Brandon, offensive line. I like that. They really need to fix up that O-line, so that's a great value to get him sixth round. I thought he'd be a sixth round pick. Don't know that much about the safety. Josh Metzelis. Their edge rusher, Kenny Wilkes, great pick. In the seventh round, I thought he'd go like in the fourth, so that's a great pick. Nate Stanley in the seventh, have a great backup. Brian Cole, the second safety. Actually, don't know that much about him, but yeah, he's a safety depth. And then they ended up with offensive lineman Kyle Hinton. Don't know if he makes it to the roster. I think they could have done a little bit, a couple more picks better, but I'm going to go A-. Absolutely like their draft.
Yeah, I also like their draft. I give them a B plus on the Justin Jefferson pickup to replace what they lost in Stephon Diggs. They lost that corner. What's his name? Xavier Rhodes, and they got Jeff Gladney, who should have gone to the Cowboys, but they went with talent instead of need. So they get Jeff Gladney in that pickup, and then Ezra Cleveland, who I mean, it was a kind of a good pickup for them. I didn't really have him that high up in my pickups of offensive tackle. I didn't have him like 8. Uh, the rest were okay. I mean, I solid pickups for them. James Lynch and this other wide receiver they got, KJ Osborne from Miami. Um, that quarterback as well could be good if he has to start eventually. Let's see how he does in the preseason. If there's a preseason. Nate Stanley from Iowa. Other than that, they have really solid pickups. I give them a B plus. That's a fair grade for them. But the Vikings are doing really good compared to the Packers. So the next one is the Patriots, actually.
Oh yeah, the Patriots. Getting a lot of questions on that one. So in round 2, they took Kyle Duggar, the safety out of Lenore Ryan, a Division II player. Some call it a reach, but it's the type of player Bill Belichick likes, so he's going to take it. Every year Belichick's fresh on his draft for his players, but it's the type he likes. He loves versatile players, and that's what he went here. He went athletic, versatile players. Kyle Duggar, he can play safety, linebacker. I think he can play both safety positions, and then he can be a linebacker. He has the strength of a linebacker, the speed of a safety. He's going to be the future for when Chung and what's his name, McCourty are gone, and he has two great mentors with him to mentor him. I can see him starting this year as punt returner and kick returner because that was one of his strengths in college. I think he returned like 10 of them, so he's really good. Next pick's actually my favorite pick, Josh Uche. I had the Patriots drafting him in the third round. They got him in the second round. I did have a second round on him. He's an edge. He can play linebacker and defensive end, so that's a great pick out of Michigan. I really like him. Then they added sorry, I got thrown off. Joshua Uche. He's a great pick from Michigan. Absolutely love that pick. Then they added an extra edge, so they really needed. They went with guys that are versatile that can play defensive end and linebacker. And this is another guy I have watched the Patriots, and that's Anthony Jennings. Watched him a lot in Alabama, and you could argue that he was the second best player for Alabama defensively last season. I saw him do a lot on and off the field. He's your typical Belichick guy. Like, you ask anybody that you can't see him getting drafted anywhere else. He fits the Belichick and Patriot mold. Now the tight ends, which were their biggest need, were the biggest question ones. Devin Asiasi. Now Devin Asiasi was growing some interest from some teams taking him earlier, so the Patriots get him in the third round. He's very physical. He's supposed to be like the new Gronk because 10 years ago, the last time Belichick ever drafted tight ends, he drafted two. Robert Gronkowski, the big physical one. Aaron Hernandez, the versatile that could be running back, wide receiver, tight end. So he gets Asiasi, who's going to be the big blocking type one. And then he finishes it off with Dalton Keene, who is just like Hernandez. He'd be running back, tight end, wide receiver, very versatile. So he knocked it out of the park that 10 years ago when he was questioned about those two tight ends. He's questioned again. I like these guys now. Keene we won't see that much about him. Maybe some special plays. Asiasi, I expect big from him. In fact, many people have him as the top rookie tight end for fantasy football because we're going to use him the most out of all the other tight ends because tight end was our biggest need. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, kicker in the 5th round. We really need a kicker, and we got what half people say is the best, and the other half say second best, and Justin Rohrwasser. Perfect in overtime and in the fourth quarter. Perfect in horrible weather, and that's what Belichick said. He's like, I watched him, and he thrived in horrible weather. New England gets horrible weather, so he likes that, and I like it too. Great pick. This was their steal of the draft for the Patriots was Michael Onwenu, offensive lineman from Michigan. I thought he'd go really earlier, 3rd, 4th round. To get him in the 6th round, he's an absolute beast. And well, our O-line is getting a bit older, so he'll be able to replace Shaq Mason, or even if we do trade Tooney, because there's rumors that we will. Now the next guys are the ones I wasn't big on. Justin Herring, offensive tackle, probably makes it to just be on the bench. Cash Maluya, I could actually linebacker out of Wyoming. I can see him making it, but not for playing linebacker for special teams because he's really good at that, and Belichick loves his special teamers. Now the center, Justin Woodard. I see him getting cut, but he probably makes it because we do need a backup center, since we lost Ted Carlos. So I'm going to go B because it wasn't special, but I don't think it's bad. He got what Belichick needs, and like, we trust he. So next, it's Serge your turn. So yeah, B for the Patriots.
Yeah, I actually have one with a B. It's a solid draft for New England. People were not digging what they got. I mean, Kyle Duggar, the safety that they got, everyone's like, what, who's that? But I seen somewhat of his highlights as well. I think he's a really solid pickup for Bill Belichick, and then the rest. I really like the Devin Asiasi from UCLA. He really, his stock really went up out there. He wasn't like 2-3 obviously in tight ends, but I expect big things from him. And then Anthony Jennings from Alabama, another Alabama guy that probably Bill talked to what's his name, Nick Saban, to get him, and he probably recommended him. And the guard as well, they really need a guard to see what they're gonna do with the other ones, and they're kind of aging. And the kicker, a bunch of people don't like him because his tattoos are controversial. That shouldn't define the player's talent, and this guy's really talented at kicker, which they needed, especially the fact that he could play in rainy weather and all that, which that's majority of like December and all that for the Patriots. And the rest were okay. The center, I think they really needed that, and Cash Mula as well. Like Raymond said, could be a good special teams help, but a solid B for the Patriots. That's a good grade for them.
All right, now we got the New Orleans Saints, and Saints did really good moves in the free agency and in the draft. Cesar Ruiz, he can be their. Well, they did get a center last year. That won't question me, but I think he can play anywhere else in that O line. So he'll be solid, and they re-signed Andrews Pete. So great need for them. Then Zach Bond in the third round, absolute steal. I thought he could have gone first round at worst, second round. So they gave him the third round, and it was a need they needed. They needed a linebacker, and Zach Bond can play even defensive end, but I don't think they'll be using him that much there. They'll use him more for a linebacker. Great pick. Really like Zach Bond. Now the tight end. Now they get a backup one that they're gonna try to see if Cook can train and just have as the second one. Now maybe he'll thrive there, but I'm not a big fan of Adam Trotman because Belichick had the interview with him. Belichick said that guy has a loser's mentality. And we got quarterback Tommy Stevens. I don't think they needed a quarterback. They already had two other ones, so that was just a wasted pick. So that's why I'm just gonna go B plus here. Could have been better. They would have used another value thing that they needed, but they go B plus. And they're probably still missing a little bit. And yeah, I think the Trotman was a reach. So I'm gonna go B plus for the Saints.
The Saints. I don't really have that much to how you call it. What's it called to say about the Saints? I have them at B. I mean, Zach Bond was a really good pickup, and then the Cesar Ruiz was a good pickup as well. But I mean, I just give them a B. Their draft picks weren't as impressive to me, but some people are saying that it was gonna fade Sean Payton. But I mean, that's why I give them the B. I don't really have to say that much about it. But I guess they have solid pickups.
All right, now the New York Giants.
Yeah.
That was it. So the Giants actually sneaky great draft. Not a lot of people are talking about them. Now they need offensive tackle or linebacker. They go for Andrew Thomas. Now I know some people say, oh, there was better. For a long time, Andrew Thomas was the best offensive tackle, and I think the Giants still kept it like that. And in my opinion, Andrew Thomas was a top 10 player in this draft, so they get him fourth overall. So that's a great pick for them. McKinney, the second round steal. I thought someone would try snagging him in the first round. He really grew over me as the best safety in this draft. So you're going to pair him with Jabril Peppers. Matt Peart's another great offensive lineman. So they're really stacking up that offensive line because they need to protect Daniel Jones and need to allow Saquon to run and give him what he needs. And they get Matt Peart along with Andrew Thomas. Those are great picks. Now Darnay Holmes in the fourth round, great value where they got him. He's a solid corner to be there along with they added James Bradbury. So they got two good solid corners. Well, a great corner and a solid corner. Shane Lamox, more offensive lineman. I do like him. I saw him going to fifth round, the offensive lineman out of Oregon. Don't know that much about their linebacker, Cam Brown, or the other linebacker, Tate Crowder. But their linebacker, Carter Coughlin, I actually like him. And I said they need to grow a young one with Simmons, but it's fine. You have Tyler Fackwell, Blake Martinez, and Carter Coughlin. And then they get another corner, Chris Williamson. Don't know that much about him. They could have gone somebody better. So they filled some needs. There's some questionable moves, but a sneaky good draft for the Giants. I'm going to go B minus because those linebackers kind of questionable, but they did kill it with their first 5 picks. And that Carter Coughlin one, B minus.
Yeah, the Giants. I have them at B plus. Actually, I really like the Andrew Thomas. People are saying, it was that kind of a reach, but I think he went at a good value at 4. Xavier McKinney as well, getting him in the second round. Great pickup for them. The offensive tackle Matt Hurt could be good. I mean, they really need another offensive tackle to protect Daniel Jones and to help out Saquon Barkley. That corner Darnay Holmes could be really good with what's his name, Bradbury. That they have back there. And then I seen this guy, Cam Brown from Penn State. He was really good last season. And also the other guy from Minnesota, the linebacker Carter Coughlin. They could have a good linebacking duo when the other guys leave or they don't produce as much. These two guys could work really great together. The other guy I don't really know about him, T.J. Burson. And then the corner Chris Williamson. And it was like okay, and then Trey Crowder it was okay, but to begin with, they had great pickups. I give them a B plus. That's how they started, and how they finished wasn't that good, but those linebackers really impressed me. And now we have the New York Jets. I actually had them at a B minus. After getting Mekhi Becton, 11 overall, which was I think was 2-3 out there in offensive tackles. and then going with Denzel Mims at wide receiver, which most people thought that they were going to go Jerry Jeudy. Henry Ruggs the third. They went Denzel Mims in the second. Was it second round? Yeah, second round, third round. At pick 59, who was a great pickup for them that they need Sam Darnold to throw at least something to, because they lost the other guy. I forgot his name. That wide receiver that they lost. Um,
Jets. Oh,
yeah. What's his name? That
Robbie
guy.
Anderson.
Yeah, he only had like 3 good games out there, especially against the Cowboys. Ashton Davis that they got the safety from Cal. He was good considering the fact that the school wasn't that good on defense. And the rest were okay. I mean, James Morgan, I don't know why you would get someone like that. I mean, maybe if you have to deal again with mono with Sam Darnold, that's a solid quarterback for you guys.
Belichick and Jerry Jones were interested in him, so they probably saw that and they wanted.
But I mean, for their team, it was like a reach for them. Another offensive tackle, and Cameron Clark. That's another good pickup. And then the corner Bryce Hall. I really like that guy. I think for me that's one of the steals as well at 158 that they picked him up. That's another great corner that you're gonna pick. Be with and place him with Ashton Davis from Cal. So I mean, overall they had a good draft. Not better than the Giants in my opinion. So that's why I go B minus. Especially with that corner and that safety Ashton Davis, they're gonna have a good defense. I don't know if it's better than the Patriots secondary, but that young defense is starting to build up at least.
Alright, the Jets, I actually like their draft. Mekhi Becton, he's got some pancake. He solves their left tackle issue. Denzel Mims, getting him the second round. I thought he'd go in the first round, so that's a great pick. Don't know if he's number one starting material receiver, but he's going to have to be that for the Jets. Ashton Davis, I thought, in my opinion, the third best corner. I thought he'd go in the second round. They get him in the third round. Jabari Zuniga, I actually always had him mocked to the Jets, so great value where they got him. I expected them to get him in the third round. I like the Michael Perine, the running back, to have there behind Le'Veon Bell. James Morgan, he's a solid backup. Cameron Clark's a great offensive lineman. Don't know that much about the punter, Braden McMahon. Oh, the corner, Bryce Hall in the fifth round, that's a steal. They really need to add some secondary help, and they get Bryce Hall. I really like him. Had a second round grade on him. I'm going to go A minus. There were some great picks, but the Jets, they'll be okay. They still need a little bit more to go and become one of the top teams in that division. So now we go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Cool. Another team that a lot of people don't like their draft actually do. Jalen Reagor, they like going with speed receivers, so he's one of the fastest there are. They say he's got the upside of Deshaun Jackson and Tyreek Hill, but he's just taller and more explosive. Jalen Hurts, that one questioned me at first, but they're going to turn him into a gadget player, and I'm fine with that. I've always thought that was perfect for Hurts. I don't trust his arm, so you have him as a guy that can do some running plays, catching plays, even have him at quarterback for a couple plays. So they're going to make the offense more dangerous there with him and Wentz on the same field and Jalen Reagor. Then what's his name? Davion Taylor, linebacker. Don't know that much about him, but Howie Roseman's a very smart GM, so he sees guys, he evaluates them differently. Kayvon Watts in the fourth round, steal. Thought he should have gone in the second, maybe early third. I like the safety out of Clemson. Have him there get mentored by Will Parks, so that should be the future. Then offensive lineman Jack Driscoll. I thought he'd go in the second round, so this is an offensive line that's getting old, so you got to have great depth, and they have a great future with Jack Driscoll and Andre Dillard. Now, they did take 2 more receivers. I don't know if they'll make it, but there's a theme. They want speed. They go with John Hightower and Quez Watkins, both of them quick, along with Jalen Reagor, and they trade for Marcus Lee, who has speed, so they like to get deep threats since Carson Wentz can fling that. I do like the Hightower. Actually, no, I don't know that much Hightower. I do like Quez Watkins' move. They had an extra linebacker. Don't know that much about Sean Bradley. The next offensive tackle they take in the 6th round is a steal. Prince Tega Wanago. Had him going in the 2nd round. He falls to the 6th. Like I said, they're trying to build because they have an old offensive line. And linebacker Casey Tuhill. I know a little bit about him. He's solid to be there for rotation. I'll go A. I know it's not a plus because some of them are not known guys, but it's a great draft. I mean, a good draft, not as great, but I'm going to go solid A for the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles. I think they compared to what they went. How you call it? but they went more with need than they went with talent. Other than the Jalen Hurts, yeah, people are like, oh, I mean, Carson Wentz is not gonna make it, and this and that. But they didn't get Jalen Hurts to replace Carson Wentz. They got him for like little trick plays. They got him for like what Lamar does with Robert Griffin III, and they got him for that reason. And I mean, they got him just so they could hurt the Cowboys because the Cowboys also were interested in Jalen Hurts. Jalen Rager getting that wide receiver from TCU. It's a solid wide receiver. It could be great for them. And then the rest, Devon Taylor, Kevon Wallace, and Jack Driscoll. They're also great pickups. Um, Considering the fact that their offensive line wasn't all that. I mean, there's aging obviously, so they're kind of going down. So I go a B minus, but I really like this draft. They went with need. They didn't go without all that well with talent, but these players are gonna be really great with that great coach who already won a Super Bowl. And they might go back to another one and win another one. So I give them a B minus.
All right, the next Pennsylvania team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another draft is getting criticized. I actually liked it. They didn't need that many needs, and they filled what they needed. Chase Claypool, love that receiver. Found in the second round. I expected him to go there maybe early third round. Like it. You had him there with Juju. I'm expecting big things from Deontay Johnson. James Washington's a solid number 2. Then you get edge rusher Alex Highsmith, third round. That's where I saw him going maybe fourth round. A great pick since they're not really, that's not one of the biggest needs, but just to add for extra. Like it. I said they needed an extra running back to add to that James Conner and what's his name, the guy who got last year, Benny Snell. I think McFarland Jr. He isn't that bad, so a great pickup there. Kevin Dotson, they're another one like the Eagles' old offensive lines they're building, so I like Dotson. Antoine Brooks in the 6th round, that's a steal. I thought he'd go earlier. Um, I don't know. I didn't think they need that much of a safety, but just to have some depth, and Brooks is solid to have depth, and you take him from any other team that could have used him. And they need to replace Javon Hargrave, and they go Carlos Davis. Don't know that much about him, but Mike Tomlin's really great at developing players. And it was these. Oh, you look at all these picks. It's the Steeler type of draft. I'm gonna go B. I trust Mike Tomlin. They're guys that have great upside. Maybe some could go down, but I was gonna go with B. But I don't get the criticism of this draft class that they had. I liked it.
Yeah, me either. I went also solid B. They didn't really need that much considering the fact, I mean, they're a stacked team. They traded the first round pick for Mika Fitzpatrick, which also was a great trade for them because he's a really talented player and he fits in that system. Yeah, the Chase Claypool, wide receiver, is gonna be really good with Juju. I mean, maybe he could be a number 2 with him and try to get if Juju doesn't get open because they double teaming him, he could get majority of the reps. And Alex Highsmith, the linebacker from UNC, 102 draft pick. He could be really good as well coming out of that college, but who knows? Um, but the rest, the running back, I kind of get because I mean they have what just what's his name, that running back that they have.
Connor and
Yeah, yeah. I mean he could be a somewhat of a third, like kind of like Philadelphia that has like many running backs, but obviously they get injured. But I mean, when they're healthy, they're really great. And then the guard to protect, if they're gonna actually use him to protect Ben. And the safety, Brooks Jr. from Maryland, he could be great in that defense. Maybe learn off Mika Fitzpatrick and Carlos Davis as well from Nebraska. They picked up solid players for that defense who is already great. So I give him a solid B. That's a good draft for the Steelers.
All right, next we have the 49ers. My next A plus in this draft. They want to stay competitive. I thought they'd take a step back, but they're going to be really competitive. They get cheaper, get rid of Buckner, and get somebody way better and cheaper, and Javon Kinlaw in the first round. Then they get one of my favorite receivers in this draft that I some people were saying shouldn't have gone in the first round, but I knew he should have gone. That's Brandon Ayuk, the dude's a beast after catch. So I have 3 great yards after catch players in Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. And Brandon Ayuk, he can play number 1, he can play number 2. That's what I like about him. So if you don't want him to be your number 1 receiver, he can be number 2. He was second fiddle to N'Keal Harry in Arizona State. Then N'Keal left, and he carried as number 1. He did solid. He was the best thing Arizona State had last season. Then they add some more offensive lines since they're also one of those old O-lines. They get Colton McKivitz. That's a great pick. I think I see him getting drafted in round 5. They get him. Now they do go with another tight end to add with George Kittle, but Charlie Warner wasn't the best available. That's probably the one I don't like the much, but they're still solid with George Kittle. Jawan Jennings, receiver out of Tennessee. I actually like that. So you pair him with Samuel. They have a big. They're also one of these teams that have a lot of receivers. They just don't know how great they are because they are still young ones that need to learn. But I'm going A plus. I actually like their draft. They got everything they need, and they really showed me that they are going to still stay competitive. So A plus for the Niners.
Actually, I want to be. I think it's a solid draft for them, in my opinion. I did like the Javon Kinlaw. Some people are like critical about him, but him going to them 14 overall to replace DeForest Buckner is gonna be really good for them because that players could run. That's what they need on that defensive tackle side of the ball. And then Arizona State's Brandon Ayuk, I wasn't that fond of him, but seeing how he plays at Arizona State after losing N'Keal Harry over there, he had to take off the load, well, take up all the load, and he could do well in pressure. Uh, that offensive tackle from West Virginia, I didn't really know that much, but I mean, let's see how he does with the Niners. I didn't really see why the tight end, this tight end especially from Georgia. I didn't really like that pick. And then the Juwan Jennings. I mean, it just adds depth, but I think overall it's just a solid draft for the Niners with the B.
All right. So now we go to their rival in the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks started off with Jordan Brooks, the linebacker. They needed one of those, and I know people are going to criticize on them, but it's what the type of guys Pete Carroll does. It's what he does. Then they go edge Daryl Taylor, another guy that you could have been like, what, Pete Carroll? But it's the type of guys he gets and what he always does. Offensive line, I do like Damon Lewis. They needed to bolster up that offensive line. Now, I think they were pretty good at tight end, so I don't know why they got this one, but it's a pretty good one to get. And I guess because what's his name? Olsen's on a 1 year deal, but he can mentor this guy. Colby Parkinson, very smart guy. I could see him being like another Olsen. That's a great pick, especially because Will Disley gets hurt, and Jacob Hollister, you can't really trust him being your number one. They had more running back there for DJ Dallas. I think they was better than him. I do like Alton Robinson, the fifth. That's a great edge. I thought he should have been their second rounder, and Daryl Taylor could have been their fifth, but they just swapped it up around. Wide receiver Freddie Swain, he's solid. They are also one of these teams stacked at receiver. And again, they get another tight end, but Steven Sullivan is pretty good. Comes from that legendary LSU offense. So I'm gonna go B. It kind of reminds me like the Patriots. You just like they can be flops or not. You just gotta trust in Pete Carroll, just like you trust in both. It's Pete Carroll's type of draft. So that's a solid B for me.
Okay. I think this is the first time that I was kind of like critical of the Seahawks. I didn't really like the draft I got. I have them at C plus. I think they could have gotten better, but I mean, I do see why because I mean it is Pete Carroll, but I think he's a poor man's Bill Belichick. I mean, I think he's really good, but some of these guys, other than Jordan Brooks and Darnell Taylor, and I kind of like the Kobe Parkinson. The running back, it was like okay considering the fact that the running backs did get injured last season, towards the end and all that. Um, I didn't understand the whole wide receiver. I guess somewhat of depth, I guess, but uh, the other ones are kind of reaches. I like the Damian Lewis one, the from LSU, the offensive guard. But I didn't really like this draft by Pete Carroll. I think he kind of did somewhat of an opposite of Bill Belichick because Bill Belichick, I guess they kind of scout different, but I kind of like more Bill Belichick's draft picks, and that's why I give him a C plus. I'm really critical with this one. Um, I didn't really like it, so I give him a C plus for the Seahawks.
All right. My final A plus, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They needed to get Brady protection, and they got Amari B. Well, I think Serge really liked this guy on that Tristan Wirfs, and a lot of people are calling him great value to see him go as the fourth one, and he falls to Tampa. Great pick. And they need a safety. They go Antoine Winfield, great value. I saw him going the second round. His father was great. His father played against Brady. Now he gets to team up with Brady. I do like Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back out of Vanderbilt. Solid to have him behind Ronald Jones. And he's like a typical Patriot back. He can also get the passes and all that. He's a catch running back, and he can run. Wide receiver Tyler Johnson, that's a steal. I thought he'd go earlier. You get him in the fifth, so now you got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, Gronk, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Ronald Jones. Now, the only problem I do have is too many mouths to fill. So I think the Bucks want to get a lot, but also it's too many mouths to fill. Like, you didn't have to get that much, but Tyler Johnson's still a great pick. Caleb Davis, a defensive tackle, great value getting him in the 6th round. Chappelle Russell, an extra linebacker to add to a great linebacking core. Then they add another running back in Raymond Calais. I'm not big on him. I don't know if he'll make it. He could have gone with Eno Benjamin. This is an A+ draft for me.
I actually have him a B plus. I really like the draft. I was skeptical between an A minus and a B plus. I had to go with B plus. I really like the Tristan Wirfs pick. I've been saying since the beginning of the draft, even before the draft started, like these draft rumors. But I really like Tristan Wirfs. Going to the Buccaneers to help protect Brady. The Antoine Winfield from Minnesota, that safety, popped out of my screen majority of the time in his games. And also his highlights. You go back and look at how he plays. He's a real solid safety out there, and for that value, I think I give him credit. The other one, I mean, I didn't really like the Tyler Johnson that much. That's why I kind of went with a B plus. But who knows how he does with if he starts in that system. But I mean, I see a stacked roster now with an offense and now with defense that they got. They got what 3 players on defense, which they were key players. Nebraska's Khalil Davis, sorry, 194th pick, and Temple's linebacker Chappelle Russell. They're solid players and they're gonna up in that defense. Whether they start or not, they can learn from Bruce Arians, and that coach, those coachings out there in the Buccaneers. But I think it's a really great draft. But I had to go with a B plus with this one.
All right. So now the Tennessee Titans. Wasn't a big fan of their free agency, and their draft is okay-ish one to me. Isaiah Wilson didn't think he should have gone in the 1st round, but I knew they were going to go off his tackle. I thought they'd go Cleveland. They liked Cleveland or Wilson. They went Wilson. Don't like that one. Now, my favorite pick was getting Bolton at the 2nd round. That's a steal, considering that he went after Trayvon Diggs, and I felt that he was better than Diggs. Should have gone before Diggs. They did add to replace Damian Lewis to go Darrington Evans. There was a better running back. Don't like that one. Defensive tackle Leroy Murchison. There's better there. Now, like I said, they need a backup quarterback because you can't trust what's his name, Tannehill.
Yeah.
Paul McDonald's solid. Then they get a corner, Chris Jackson. They had a couple reaches. I'm gonna actually go now. Now I reread this draft. I had a B minus, but I think this is worse. I'm gonna go with C plus for the Bills. I mean the Tennessee Titans. Horrible free agency, horrible draft.
Yeah, I was skeptical as well for this one, either B minus, C plus. I went with B minus. The Isaiah Wilson. I mean, yeah, they did need an offensive tackle, so they addressed that. The Christian Fulton. That's what made me go a little bit higher than a C plus into a B minus. This pick, I can't believe that they let him drop this far, into the draft. Was it pick 61? And the running back, I kind of comprehended, but at the same time don't, because I mean they have a solid running back core. I really like that Cole McDonald guy from Hawaii. I saw how he plays. He could be a better Tannehill, which is kind of what they need, because I mean at some point Tannehill is good, but I mean he's going to be carried by Derrick Henry. I gave him a B minus just because of the Christian Fulton pick. The other one, Chris Jackson from Marshall. I didn't really see him that much, but I see a bunch of analysts saying that he could be solid for this team. So a B minus is a very great for them. And now to the last team.
The Washington Redskins. I like their offseason, their free agency. The draft was some questionable ones. Now Chase Young obviously had to go with him. Don't think they needed him, but he's just a generational talent that they couldn't pass on. Now this one they have a lot of running backs. I don't know why to go with Antonio Gibson, but he is a really good running back. Then they get offensive lineman Sadiq Charles. I'm not a big fan of him. Now I do like the receiver Antonio Gandy Golden, pairing him up with young Terry McLaurin. So they got 2 great young wide receivers. Their offensive line, I did not like the 2 that they took. Keith Ismail and the other one, Sadiq Charles. Kaliki Hudson, the corner, that's great value to get him in the 5th round. Add on to that secondary, I think is already pretty good. And they add an extra safety in Cameron Curl, solid value, sub-rounder. Don't know about that other edge, James Smith-Williams. Don't know if he'll make it. They're really stacked at the edge position. I'm gonna go C plus because they didn't reach on some. Some were good to bad picks, and they didn't go tight end, but eventually they would end up signing Randy Moss's son as a free agent. So, but still C plus because of what they did in the draft. You guys did really good in the free agency, but I like the draft.
Yeah, going back and looking at this draft, I did have a B minus, but I'm going to lower it down to C plus. The Chase Young pickup again. They didn't really need him, but I mean it's a generational talent. Some people are already saying that he might, and within 10 years of playing, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And this talent is too good to miss. So I mean, I understand the pick for them. I feel like they could have gotten something else and something better. The rest were just solid pickups. I didn't really like the draft either. The wide receiver could be real solid in that offense. The rest they're like okay. The center that they got for San Diego State, the linebacker from Michigan. They're just solid players. I guess that's what the Redskins are so far. I mean, yeah, I like Ron Rivera and the coach that they got, Jack Del Rio, but um, the talent that they got or the players that they got were just solid players. I didn't really see anyone who popped for me. So I had to change it from a B minus to a C plus. The Redskins could have done something better, but I guess it's just the same repetitiveness as they always have been doing. So C plus for the Redskins.
Well, that puts an end to this one. Just for next week, where we should have Rockdown back. We're going to give you, now with free agency and the draft segment be done, our post-draft power rankings of every team from 32 to 1.
We are?
Yeah, we're going to do that next week. So, Rockdown,
Yeah,
you
want to see?
how you always do? Run them out.
Remember.